Happy Monday and welcome to the Weekly Noodle, the official podcast of Spaghetti Records. Each week we feature a release from a Spaghetti Records artist and give you a look behind the scenes of the writing, recording, and creative process. I'm Ben, and this week we'll be looking at Pimp Lady, a killer cut from the upcoming debut album from Spaghetti Records recording artists Weird Aliens. Right here from the group, I have Bill.
Hi, Ben. Good to be here.
Fantastic to have you in presence and spirit. We're going to talk today about a very cool track off of your album. This one is, of course, Pimp Lady. I have to be honest, when I first saw the title of this track and heard you're doing this, I just thought, why one more of the many tired out songs about the Pimp Lady?
Sure. Yeah. Well, it's a rock and roll cliche at this point, right? The Pimp Lady.
Yeah. I got to say, pretty courageous to do yet another version. Except now, having experienced it, I got to say, you have totally done a fresh take on it, a nice take. It smells good.
Well, thank you. Yeah. Well, no, I'm glad to have redefined for you what, the tired old institution of the Pimp Lady has to offer.
You really have done a totally unique take on it. And I'm obviously, there's feeling behind it and excitement and inspiration. I was curious where that inspiration came from.
Well, just in general, 70s funk music, just a love of 70s funk and a desire to kind of pay an homage, if you will.
Well, you have paid in full, my friend, and then some interest. It is a wonderful song, and later we'll dig into the details a little more. So right now, we have Pimp Lady by Weird Aliens.
funky pimp lady. Pimp lady, a funky pimp lady. Got soul for my loving pimp lady. She's a lady, nasty pimp lady. Green soul for my funky pimp lady. She's a lady, a pimp lady. Got soul for my funky pimp lady. Pimp lady, a funky lady. Got soul for my loving pimp lady.
Ooh, yeah, love it. Love it so much.
Got some soul after that one.
I do. Before I was soulless, but now I feel pretty good. Where to start? But let's start at the end. That ending, that outro, the gang vocals. I love it. Where'd it come from?
Awesome. Yeah, well, it was fun to record. I like how it turned out. That's actually the only sort of structural part of this song that I didn't write.
Really?
Yeah. That was actually Andrew Martin, who you're familiar with, Spaghetti
sure.
Records recording artist. Yeah, I basically had the song, Pimp Lady, pretty much complete, written and recorded, but without an outro. And I had sent it to him kind of saying, hey, check out the song, but I don't have an outro. And he sent back just an acoustic demo, basically of him strumming and kind of singing that vocal line, And then I had the idea to layer it and make it kind of a group thing. And really that just all comes back to that 70s funk tradition, the kind of group vocal. Some of the bands I like did that. War, Funkadelic, of course, groups like that, would have that big group vocal thing going. Sly and the Family Stone did that sometimes, I think, yeah, kind of, it's just good energy. It sounds like a big band. It's like a sing-along. That's Leia singing with me. She's a Spaghetti Records recording artist. I'm sure we'll hear more from her later.
I gotta interject. I was curious if is that the Pimp Lady we're hearing at the end of the track.
I don't know. It's I guess maybe the listener is going to have to decide for themselves on that one, whether they're hearing the Pimp Lady.
We all have to decide for ourselves. But yeah, that vocal outro is just fantastic. I was almost honestly clapping here at the end. Joining in, feeling moved.
It's a toe tapper.
Yeah, toe tapper, hand clapper.
Yeah, all those things.
Yeah, a button snapper. Yeah, it's good. And a great way to end the song. Now, as far as the beginning of the song, it starts off with this really cool sounding, funky repeating riff. What is going? Can I ask?
Yeah.
What is that?
Sure, the wah-wah thing. It's actually it's a keyboard. Some people think it's a guitar when they first hear it. What I was trying to emulate was the kind of that Stevie Wonder higher ground superstition, whatever he's got going, that electric piano, clavinet, Wurlitz, or whatever it is with the run through a wah-wah. I did the poor man's version. It was just a Yamaha keyboard. And the setting, what came out of the keyboard, sounded nothing. If I were to play it right now, the setting sounds nothing like what's on the record. It's got a filter and wah-wah pedal, obviously.
I like it though, because, and this kind of plays out to a lot of the instruments on this track, with the effects you use and how you use these instruments, they don't always sound like the instrument they are, and they sound like something almost a hybrid, an in-between instruments, and I think that adds a level of mystique and a unique sonic footprint to this track.
Cool. Well, thanks. Yeah, it's definitely a production track, is kind of, I think of it that way, most any instrument or vocal on it isn't left alone. It's got some, kind of out of the box production going on it that makes it, different than you'd typically hear.
Yeah, it is. And I think is part of why this song is so refreshing and fun and exciting. Speaking of fun and exciting, that guitar solo just, take a listen. it's hot. I don't know how else
Yeah,
to
I like
say
it too.
You're humble, but I definitely wanted to just at least take a minute to talk about that because there's so much I love about it, and this is clearly a funk song, but for whatever reason, I hear a little bit of Dean DeLeo in there from Stone Temple Pilots. Something in the, while he's a good guitarist, his guitar tones aren't typical all the time, but it has injected with some adrenaline, some unpredictability, some sweat in there, and that's what I hear in your guitar solo there.
Cool. Yeah, I'll take that comparison. Great guitarist. I didn't necessarily have him or any other guitarist in mind when I wrote it and recorded it. I think probably about half of the solo I heard, the riffing in my head and then just recreated it, and the other half was just completing that. And there's some natural overdrive on it. I like to drive the amp all the way, and
I can hear that.
Yeah, a little bit of wah-wah, kind of just left in a given position, almost like a filter. Some different guitarists that I like played that way, going way back, and so I do that sometimes. So yeah, a touch of wah-wah, some overdrive, and just kind of tried to play kind of fast, hit some good notes in there, but focus on
there's so many good notes to hit in there. I don't think I heard one bad note.
Oh, well, thank you.
And I'm thinking about looking around the studio, and you got the the guitar amps and the keyboard and the bass, and sometimes it gets crowded. Where did you fit in the turntable for that record scratching?
Yeah, good question. Well, actually, I wish I could say it was actual record scratching that I got decks and did that. It's actually a sample. I just got a good sample and altered it, slowed it down, changed the tempo to match and filtered it and that kind of thing.
It's such a cool thing to drop in there. Where did you get the idea,
The Bomb Squad all the way, Public Enemy. Yeah, no, that was the influence for it, was 80s. I love that old hip hop, Brooklyn 80s hip hop stuff, and I guess that's one element that isn't so much 70s funk, but that was the inspiration for it. It's my first foray into record scratching. Like I said, I like all that old stuff. So
yeah, well, I kind of like
tip
that.
Of the hat.
It's a tip of the hat. It's not pulled directly from the funk genre, and I think that kind of like the in-between sounds, the instruments, it gives us this in-between genre unique feel. What's old is new. It sounds so cool, and it makes this track its own.
Cool. Yeah. There's a lot going on, and it's definitely one of my favorite tracks off of Commodore. It's a production piece, a lot of interesting stuff, in the parts and the arrangement and the sound of each track.
Yeah, it definitely keeps you listening. So on that note, I think we'll probably leave you hanging on more stuff from Commodore till a future podcast. That's a wrap for this week. Thanks for tuning in to the Weekly Noodle, the official podcast of Spaghetti Records. Join us next week when we debut the new single, Hey Girl, from Spaghetti Records recording artist Wind Me Up. We'll be sitting down in the studio with the front man of Wind Me Up to go over the inspiration behind that track and all the ins and outs of recording it. Till then, I'm Ben. Keep it saucy, Noodleheads. Join us next week when we debut for stuff. We'll bring you stuff.
The Weekly Noodle is the official podcast of Spaghetti Records. All audio materials herein are hereby property of Spaghetti Records and relevant subsidiary parties. Trademark, copyright, secret recipe. Unauthorized duplication of authorized noodles is uncouth, rude, and generally frowned upon. The Weekly Noodle is made possible through listeners like you.